My company has placed near 100 clients into remote sales roles with top tier companies, specifically AI companies that sell high ticket AI solutions. Now, we've got guys being placed into roles within 2 weeks of signing up, 3 weeks of signing up, 1 week after completing the training. And this kind of success rate and this speed of success that we can get our clients is not a coincidence. It's because we understand the exact topic that we're about to dive into in this video, and you are about to understand it as well. Now, importantly, when you understand what we're about to go through in this video, you will be able to land damn near any sales role that you ever want repeatedly on demand. Sales roles which other people can frankly only dream about. Sales roles where you can make 10, 20, even up to 30,000 per month and beyond remotely. We're going to first go through the foundational principles and the psychology behind getting hired, which is honestly the most important thing. But then we're going to go into some of the more technical, practical how-tos of actually doing it. So enjoy, and if you just want to skip the guesswork and have an expert team of recruiters do this for you, there's a link in the description where you can go ahead and do that. Let's go. First off, guys, I don't want to bore you with my life story, but I think a little bit of context for those who are new to the channel is important, and context as to who I am and also why I'm teaching you how you can get damn near any sales role that you ever want moving forward. Now, my name is Scott Parsons, and I've been in sales my entire adult life, but specifically in 2022, I transitioned to remote high-ticket sales, where, humbly speaking, I had a pretty lucrative career, worked on some very, very big-name sales teams, including Charlie Morgan, whose business Imperium Acquisition is doing over 1 million per month. I was a top sales performer there. I was able to land top tier sales roles like Charlie Morgan's repeatedly on autopilot, sales roles where frankly you'd have to be terrible to not be making at least 10k a month. This is what can happen when you get in the right sales role. There are truly sales roles out there where you would have to be terrible to not be making under 10k a month, because they've just got so much demand, they've got so much money flowing in that, again, it makes it a lot easier to get to your financial goals. But with that being said, I was able to land top tier sales roles like Charlie Morgan's on autopilot and then consistently close big deals once I was in that role. So that led me to creating a sales training and recruitment business that helps other people land great remote sales roles. Now, importantly, once I saw just how much better, how much more efficient, how much easier it is selling for AI businesses specifically, that is when we pivoted our entire sole focus to helping our clients land great remote sales roles for great AI businesses and then closing deals once they are in that role with the AI business. Helping you to land that remote sales role, specifically with companies who sell a high-ticket AI solution. AI solutions that are typically priced between $20,000 and $40,000 with a 10 to 15% commission structure, meaning that my clients net 2 to 6,000 commission per sale. And I'm proud to say that as of recording this video, we've placed over 90 clients into top tier remote sales roles. We do this day in, day out. My primary task is talking to AI founders daily, making deals for them to hire through us, and then also training the clients on the client side. It's, in my biased opinion, a very, very exciting industry. I absolutely love it. And in life, guys, you have to go where the money and demand flows. Like, you know, think about this. You could be the best salesperson in the world, but if you're selling in the newspaper industry, for example, like a slow declining industry, you're just going to get outcompeted by some other guy who's less talented than you, less skilled, maybe even less hardworking. But if he's selling in the AI industry, for example, he's just going to outcompete and make a lot more money than the guy selling in the newspaper industry. Why? Because there's a lot more money and demand flowing into this space. So, you know, there's an analogy that I sometimes say. I'm aware how dodgy this sounds, but if you want to get wet, the best way is to stand under a waterfall. Now, what some people are doing in sales industries and even just in life in general, if the goal is to get wet, again, I know how dodgy that sounds, but if the goal is to get wet, they're building irrigation systems, they're messing around with all these different pipes, and then somebody else just goes and stands under a waterfall. Like the AI industry, I promise you guys, I'm in the trenches of this industry. This is the waterfall. There is so much money and demand flowing into this space. It frankly just still to this day blows my mind. It's a phenomenal opportunity. Again, you've got all this money and demand flowing in, which represents the waterfall, and then the salesperson underneath just being essentially the middleman between the AI business that sells a high-ticket AI solution, the business, because we only sell to business owners in terms of what me and my company do specifically. The salesperson can stand in the middle and get a piece of the pie, essentially. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. I've got way off track, but I'm proud to say again that we've placed over 90 clients into top tier remote sales roles. I really look after my clients, I look after my guys, and I'm massively proud to say that a huge percentage of them have achieved life-changing results. Craig is one example, 7,000 commission per week. He sells custom AI agents, by the way. Previously had never made more than 4K per month in his life, now doing 7K commission per week. How life-changing is that? It's honestly just beautiful. Occam, this is another one that I love. Occam is another guy who had never really broken past 4 or 5K a month in his entire career. In his very first month of the role that we placed him in, he's doing back-to-back weeks of 4,000 commission per week. Now watch this. In his second month of the role, he's tracking for 29,000. Never made more than 4 or 5K a month in his life. 29K in his second month. This industry changes lives. I don't say that just because I run a company that does recruitment and training for the AI industry. I say this just because, again, I'm so passionate because I know how life-changing it can be. Another one, Aiden, 2,000 commission per day. Another one, Alamin, 6,000 commission, just on a part-time basis. Just on a part-time basis in the AI industry, and he's outpacing his income from his full-time role. It just changes lives. But anyways, that social proof is not to brag whatsoever. It's just to give you guys the peace of mind that I really do know what I'm talking about when it comes to landing great sales roles. I'm not one of these gurus online that's teaching something they've never done. This comes from real world experience. Trials, error, data, optimization, doing it for myself, and then doing it for over 90 clients that we work with. Now, one of my primary tasks these days is talking with AI founders daily. We have the largest recruitment network in the AI industry in terms of both clients and sales reps that are trained to the highest level in specifically selling high-ticket AI solutions, and also the largest recruitment network of AI businesses who hire through us. And what I can tell you for a fact is that in order for you to land a great remote sales role repeatedly on demand, whether in AI or whether elsewhere, I promise you the most important thing that you need to know, hands down, is the psychology behind getting hired. It's easy to think like, just give me the technical, give me the how-to, we will get to that. But I promise you guys, this is the highest leverage thing that you need to understand to be able to land any sales role that you ever want in your life moving forward. Sales roles where, again, it's so much easier to make 10, 20, 30,000 a month than it is in other industries and other roles. There are sales roles out there that exist like that. Sales roles where they've already got so much money and so much demand flowing in that you just need to show up, not be terrible, and you'll make 10,000 a month, as crazy as that might sound. Now, it was my mentor, Charlie Morgan, who really first introduced me to the concept of first principles thinking. Now, first principles thinking, you'll see where I'm going with this in just a second, but first principles thinking is a mental model upon which you can approach life and approach any problems that arise. Now, Charlie kind of first introduced me to this, Charlie Morgan, but then it was another Charlie who deepened my understanding of it, a guy called Charlie Munger. Charlie Munger is a multi-billionaire. You guys probably or might know who he is. He's the partner of Warren Buffett, another very famous billionaire, and he talks a lot about first principles thinking. And ultimately, first principles thinking states that whenever you're faced with a problem, something that you need to figure and work out, you have to first understand what is true at the raw base level. So again, stick with me. You'll see where I'm going with this and how it applies to getting sales roles. So you've got to first understand what's true at the base level and then reason up from there. So for example, at the raw base level, the first principles of mathematics is that 1 + 1 = 2. Now think about this. If you believed that 1 + 1 = 3, then any math problem that you ever do moving forward will always be wrong because your raw base level of what you believe to be true is incorrect. You believe 1 + 1 = 3. You see how that works? Now, as my clients that I train know, the raw foundation behind any sale ever made is the desire for change, okay? And if you don't understand this at the raw base level, then any sales environment that you ever go into moving forward, it will just be difficult to perform if you don't understand the first principles of sales. And the first principles of sales is that the raw foundation behind anyone that ever buys something from you is the desire for change. They are looking for some kind of change, okay? That's another example. You've got the mathematics example and the desire for the sales desire for change example. Now, this is why it's so critical that when faced with a problem in life, so for example, how do I land a great sales role that I can make great money within? This is why it's so important that we must first understand from a first principles perspective what's actually going on. What's the raw base level of truth? And then we can reason up from there. So let's reverse engineer the series of events that happens when it comes to you getting hired. Now, a hiring decision maker, so that could be a founder, a CEO, a sales manager, we'll broadly call them for now hiring decision makers. Hiring decision maker becomes aware of who you are. Prior, they have no idea that you exist, and then they become aware of who you are. That is what's called attention. So we hook their attention, they then become interested in having you on their team. And what's that? That's curiosity. They're not committed to hiring you and having you on the team yet, but they are curious. We've gone from attention to curious. Then they reach out to you in order to book a chat, probably book an interview with them. That's action. And then what happens is they conduct the actual interview with you. Again, that's more action. And then their curiosity turns to desire. They want to have you on their team. They want to hire you. Then they present you with an offer. So here you go, James, whatever it might be. we would like you to work with us. Here's your offer. Okay. And then boom, you accept that offer. That is the series of events that happens for any sales role. Attention, curiosity, action, and then the curiosity turns to desire, and then you are presented with an offer. Okay. And then you can begin selling for them, closing sales, and making the big money. Now, as you can see here, guys, hopefully you can see where this is about to come together. As you can see, the raw foundation, the first principles of getting hired in a great sales role is both a hiring decision maker becoming aware of you, which is attention, and a hiring decision maker becoming curious about you, curiosity. Now, using our first principles mentor model, which, by the way, you can apply this to so many different things in life. It's an amazing mental model just to go through life within. We can now reason up, okay? So if attention and curiosity are the first principles behind landing great sales roles, we now reason up and understand, and we have to understand how to garner attention and curiosity from a hiring decision maker at a great company that we've targeted, that we think would be great to sell for. Now, to understand how to garner attention and curiosity, we have to first understand what founders and hiring decision makers want. Hopefully this is also giving you guys some insights into kind of how I think about things. I think about things from a first principles perspective. Again, my clients that I work with know that within the training piece of the program, I go very, very deep into like first principles psychology, first principles sales, why people buy from you, and then we reason up from there. We go into the foundations, the first principles, and then we reason up until we get to, the more granular tactics and specifics. This is how I operate, this is how I think, and this is also how I teach on the training front. Now, again, we have to first understand what founders and hiring decision makers want in a sales hire, and to get straight to the core of what they want somebody who can collect cash, okay? Point blank period. They want somebody who can bring revenue through the door. That's what they want in a sales hire. Absolutely everything else is secondary. Okay, they want somebody who's positive. They want somebody who can maybe add to the team culture. They want somebody who's low stress, who's easy to work with. They absolutely want those things, but all of those things come secondary to wanting a sales hire who can collect cash. It's that simple. So now that we understand this, we know we have two main objectives when it comes to landing a great sales role. Number one, garner attention, okay, so they become aware that you exist, and curiosity, again, from the hiring decision maker, the person that makes the decision about hiring salespeople. And then we want to convey to them that we are the ones who bring cash into their business. We will be the number one revenue producers for their company. We need to get their attention first, get them aware that we exist, and then create that curiosity by conveying to them that we will be the ones that will bring a lot of money to their business. Again, we're appealing to their self-interest. We're appealing to what they want. And what do they want? They want a salesperson that can bring in a lot of money to their business, and therefore you making a lot of money as well. So from there, the next steps are to craft all of our messaging. We're going to go into this in a little bit more detail in just a second, but we're going to craft our messaging. So what we call our outreach messaging, our video scripting, and also, our resume, CV, any material that you send to them about you. And we're going to get this messaging in front of these hiring decision makers at scale and at volume. Remember the first principles of getting a great sales role, whether you do outbound, whether you do a recruitment network like my company, whether you go and apply on LinkedIn, whatever it might be, the first principle is a hiring decision maker becoming aware that you exist, attention. And we want to spread that attention about you at mass scale, okay? As at the highest volume that we possibly can. So when you're reaching out to companies and hiring decision makers, you want to get straight to the point. Convey as soon as possible that you are the one who will bring revenue and cash into their business. And when you reach out to a founder, hiring decision maker, sales manager, whatever it might be, you have a small window to capture attention and build curiosity. Most people, just the general population, don't have low attention spans. But I mean, especially a founder who's maybe running a multi-million-pound company, they have very little bandwidth, right? Their head's in a lot of different places. They've got a lot of decisions to make, a lot of people to manage, etc. You've got a very, very short window to grab their attention and hook that curiosity and convey to them that you will be the one who will bring cash to their business, who will make them a lot of money. And that means that your opening line of however you reach out to them, whether it's via LinkedIn, maybe you send somebody a cold email, whatever it might be, your application, if you go through some kind of job site, whatever it might be, trigger the founders or the hiring decision makers' self-interest. That means any messaging that you ever send out to them always has to start with what I call your big promise, okay? Now, as above, like we've been through, remember, founders don't hire people who want jobs. They hire people who bring in cash. They don't care that you want the job. They care about, is this guy going to bring me a lot of money? Is this guy going to make some sales and bring me cash? So when you reach out, you're not saying, hey, I'd love the opportunity to, no. We're starting with our big promise. You're saying, I help AI companies increase their close rates and collect more cash, and I will do it fast. Or a better and simpler one that I prefer for your big promise is, I will be the #1 revenue producer for your company. That's your big promise. Everything else, again, your CV, resume, experience, tone is secondary. All that stuff only supports that promise. So think about the big promises at the top, okay? This is everything. And then everything else underneath it, CV, resume, any other messaging, cover letter, whatever it might be, that just supports the big promise, okay? Now, why this works is because psychology, when you give this big promise, it activates 2 key emotions in the hiring decision maker's brain. Number 1, desire for gain. This person might make me a lot of money. Again, we're appealing to their self-interest. Number 2, fear of loss. If I don't reply, somebody else might hire them like my competitors and I'm going to miss out. Fear of loss is a very powerful emotional driver of human behavior. Something to bear in mind. Now, that's the same emotional cocktail that gets buyers to purchase. Again, the desire for gain, the potential fear of loss, the consequence of not taking action. But it's also what gets founders to hire. Again, I'm deep in the recruitment game. I know that recruitment is ultimately a sales game. For my clients that come in, obviously we have an extensive network of AI companies that hire through us. And I'll essentially, go out to these founders. Once the client is ready, they've been through the training. And I'll be myself. It's kind of like a sales role. We've got a full-time team of recruiters that will go out and they'll say, hey, James, I think he'd fit you absolutely perfectly. What do you think? Look at his resume, blah, 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 blah. And we kind of mini pitch you. It's essentially recruitment is a sales role. It's just that you're not selling, for cash, you're selling your clients. You're selling why you think that this person would be great to work for the company. So through your opening lines of messaging and throughout all of your messaging and conversations with the hiring decision maker, you want to always be looking to convey your big promise, okay? That you will be the #1 revenue producer, that you will be the #1 cash collector in that business. Again, remember, appeal to their self-interest. They primarily, ultimately want a salesperson who's going to bring them the most money. Everything else is secondary. So again, we've got that big promise. We are going to be the ones to do it. We are going to be the ones to drive a lot of revenue for your business. Everything else just supports that promise, okay? And now that we know this, we can begin to get our messaging out to founders, to hiring decision makers of top tier companies, whether AI or whether other industries, it's totally up to you. We're going to do this at scale, at volume, and on autopilot. Remember, the raw foundation is attention. And I'm about to give you a process for how you get attention from hiring decision makers at scale, at volume, and also on autopilot as well. So again, some of you guys might have seen this process before. I give it to some of you guys. Like I've said before, the clients that join us, they get access to just, boom, our network connections and systems, and ultimately just get fast-tracked into sales roles in the AI industry. And obviously, I can't give away everything. I do have clients that pay me, money for our processes, but I want to give you guys a process that you can use. It absolutely works. I've had tens of people land roles, even guys that aren't even clients of mine. They just reach out to me on social media saying, hey, I use this process. I landed a great role. And that always fills me with great energy. So even if you don't become a client of mine, even if you don't, book a call with us, at the very least, if you actually action this process, if you execute and you get good results, please just drop me a message on Instagram or whatever it might be and let me know. It always, again, fills me with good energy. It gives me good motivation. But with that being said, now I've given you the psychology, more of the fundamentals. Now we're going to put this into practice by putting together a process that's going to get your name out in front of hiring decision makers at scale, volume, also on an autopilot, and ultimately get you into that great sales role. Let's get how to land a sales role in the AI industry. And the exact 3-step process that we use is called the elite role formula. This is what I give to my guys that, sign up with me, that are clients of mine. I give them the elite role formula. And in the elite role formula, there are 3 primary ways that you can land an elite level AI sales role. I'm about to give you one of the ways. Now, the thing is, guys, I really would not mind just giving you guys all the value, everything up front for free. But the thing is, I do have to be mindful that, I get clients that pay me money for my services, for my training, for my recruitment. So out of respect for them, I don't just want to give, I don't want to give the world for free what they have to pay for, So there are 3 primary ways that we can land you in an AI sales role. I'm going to give you one of the ways, and then I'm going to hold the other 2 back for my paying clients. And the first way that we're going to cover is what we call our outbound system. And I guarantee you guys, nobody out there is teaching this specific process, whether for AI sales or for any type of sales role, because this comes from my own original thought. This is based on years of trials, of data and feedback. This process really does work. It works insanely well. And you guys who are about to learn and execute on this process quite literally will never have to worry about money again. I really, really mean that. That's not like clickbait. That's not exaggeration. You won't. Because you will be able to land elite level AI sales roles just at will within a matter of weeks. Now, as a disclaimer though, this will take around 1 to 2 hours total to set up. But the thing is that once you have it set up, you're going to have an automated cash printing machine at your disposal for life. Anytime that you want, a good AI business to sell for or make 10, 20, 30K a month, you literally just turn this thing on and you'll be booking interviews by the next week. You'll be taking calls by the week after. Okay. So let's get into it. Like I said, there's 3 steps in total. Step number 1 is what's called target list sourcing. So this is a nice, pretty easy step, to be honest. We need to first create your list of about 20 to 50 targets. Now, remember, guys, the whole purpose of this process is not to land some average, mediocre role. We want elite level roles with a solid offer where it's easy to make 10, 20, 30K a month. And these kind of roles absolutely exist, guys. There are roles out there, believe it or not, where it's frankly you'd have to be terrible to not be making at least 15, 20K a month. That exists. So really, guys, remove any limitations that you might have in your mind. If you've never made more than 6, 7, 8K, just... I don't know how else to say it, but just trust me. This really, really does work. Let your mind be free. I've used this exact process to land multiple elite level offers. I've had over 80 clients that have used this exact process you're about to go through to land elite level roles. I've even used it myself to network and build relationships with some of the most famous, powerful people on the planet. And again, I've got other videos where I go into a bit more detail on that specifically. But anyways, so really let yourself be free and choose targets that are your, dream companies to work with. Don't go through this and think, oh, well, I'd love to work for that company, but, I don't think I'll be able to get a role. No, trust me, this works. So again, just go for it. And as a side note, as you create your target list, also bear in mind, very important point coming up here, certain companies carry a certain weight to them. A certain amount of authority that if you worked there, it would then become extremely easy to land elite level roles moving forward. So I'll give you a quick example. I use this exact process we're about to go through to land a closing role on Charlie Morgan's team. Now, some of you might know who Charlie is. Charlie is a very well-respected founder in the kind of coaching and info high-ticket sales world. So what happens is that when I went to close for him, and I did some good numbers there, that made it not only exponentially easier to get the roles I wanted moving forward, but it also allowed me to start getting multiple inbound inquiries where people were coming to me, asking me to work for them. And that's big leverage. So really look beyond the curve. Think about what companies might carry a certain level of authority if you worked there. Now let's dive in. Now, when it comes to gathering your list of, again, about 20 to 50 targets, you've got a couple of different ways that you can do this. Option number 1 is through a AI software called Manus. So, and Manus, by the way, has the ability to execute tasks autonomously upon prompting. Just go into Google if you need it. Just type in manus.im. It will come up. It will be the top link. So you can sign up to Manus. A free trial is fine for what we need. And then I've got a prompt here below, which I'm not going to read out word for word, but just copy and paste the below prompt and then tailor it if you've got any specific preferences, specific types of AI companies that you would like to sell for. Again, in other videos in this channel, I go into a bit more detail about who hires, the different types of companies, etc. So, maybe after this video, go and check that out if you need a little bit more clarity on the types of companies that are hiring. But I've put an entire prompt there. By the way, if you want this entire document, there's a bunch of resources on it, including prompts and scripts and things like that. Just comment down below. It does help the algorithm, so I would appreciate it. But yeah, just comment down below. Let me know that you want the document, and I'll get it over to you. So, but this is the prompt here. Again, you can just copy and paste that. If you do prefer a more kind of manual sniper option, that's fine. Use one of the below 2 processes. Option number 2 for gathering your target list is Apollo. It's a little bit more manual. It doesn't take that long though. And Apollo is truthfully one of the best tools on the planet for, really laser targeting B2B targets especially. So here's what you do. It's pretty nice and simple. You go onto Apollo, you create an account. Again, a free plan is fine for what we need. They'll give you about 10 to 25 leads per day. So they'll give you the company name, founder name, email, number, etc. And you get about 10 to 25 of those a day on a free plan. So again, we're looking for about 20 to 50. So, if you want more like 50, it might just, you might just have to wait till day 2, if that makes sense. But create an account. Free one is absolutely fine. Step 2, set up your advanced search filters. So basically, you want to filter it by job title: founder, CEO, sales manager, head of sales, director of sales. That'll make sure that we are getting through to the hiring decision maker. In company keywords, I'm not going to read all these out, word for word, but AI, artificial intelligence, AI SaaS, etc. Pretty common sense. Location filters, again, tailor all this to your individual needs. Like if you only want a US based company, totally fine. Just input the United States. If you're happy to also close for a company, in the US, United Kingdom, just again, tailor this to your preference, basically. Revenue range, you don't have to do this, but I would put at least 1 million. The companies that I tend to focus on and that I think are the best are companies that are doing about 7-8 figures. So any company that hires remote sales professionals through us and my company that I then pass on to my clients, typically we're looking for, 80% of the clients that hire through us are doing about 7-8 figures in revenue. Why I say this is optional, because there is a time and a place to work with like a kind of newer company. There are upsides that come with that, but there's also downsides. Downsides, they're typically a little bit less established. They don't have proper processes in place. But the upsides is there's a lot of progression opportunity. If you're like one of the first founding sales team's members, you could very well go on to lead that entire sales team, be on a base salary of 6 figures a year plus profit share and, really, really make some big money. So again, tailor to your preferences. Step number 3, just nice and simply save it to your Apollo list and then export it to a CSV. CSV is very, very important. Please remember that. CSV, it has to be. Then make sure that each row contains first name, last name, job title, company name, email. It makes tracking a whole lot easier. And step number 6 is you're going to vet your targets. So manually review each company. Just, nice and simply, just go onto their company website, go onto their LinkedIn, confirm that they do sell a high-ticket B2B product or service, at least 10K price points. Make sure that, from looking at their website or maybe their LinkedIn, make sure that it's clear that they run their sales process over a Zoom call. So on their website, it should say like, book a call, book a demo. If it does have that, you can be pretty confident that they conduct their sales process remotely over Zoom, and that they also sell at a high ticket price point, because companies only really sell high ticket over a call. So, if they were selling low ticket, they just have like a buy now button. So again, if it's about booking a call, you can be pretty confident that they are also selling a high ticket price point. As a little bit of a side note, Apollo is quality over quantity. Like don't mass export just 1,000 contacts for the sake of it. Take a more sniper approach, like 10 to 50 sniper pick targets from strong, very growing AI companies. And, 10 to 50 is plenty to book interviews and land elite roles. Literally like book interviews this week or the next week. Now, why this matters is that you're not just applying for jobs. Like you are really going to, as you're going to see in a second, you're really pitching yourself as a high performance asset, a cash collector. And this means that the right list is truthfully everything. It's the foundation of everything. And no outbound system is going to convert unless the targets are elite. So again, really use Apollo to build a sniper list of founders who need salespeople that, kind of get AI tech, software, etc. And by the way, you don't need deep AI knowledge coming into this to do well in this industry, because every company in their onboarding phase will teach you about their specific solution and how it works. So you don't need deep AI technical knowledge coming into this, but you just need to have a willingness to learn. Option 3 is the more manual. I wouldn't really recommend this. I would just go Manus or Apollo route, but for whatever reason, I don't know, if you do want to go a real manual route, that's absolutely fine. It's pretty self-explanatory, but, use the right hunting grounds. Go on LinkedIn especially, is going to be your main hunting ground. Go on X, otherwise known as Twitter. Maybe check Facebook, Instagram, although it's a little bit less applicable. LinkedIn is going to be your main hunting ground for specifically what we do, which is very high-ticket AI services. Then once you've done that, source the data. I've got the I've got a template spreadsheet, which you can get on the document. Again, if you want the document, just comment down below. I'll send it to you. Input the data that you need. So, for example, first name. It says everything on the spreadsheet template, so I won't go through it all one by one. Then what you want to do is, so you'll pretty easily, and even in a manual approach, be able to get the basic details such as the founder's full name, the company name, website links, social media links, etc. The only thing that you have to go a step further is to get the email. And what you can do is you can Google the founder's name and then the company name, which you would have done through your research, and then just type email next to it. So for example, it will be like founder's name, Charlie Morgan, company name, Imperium Acquisition, and then just type email next to it. Now, when you do that, what's going to happen is a list of email verifying tools such as Contact Owl or Rocket Reach is going to come up. I've always used Rocket Reach. It's very, very reliable. It's very good. Just use that and Rocket Reach will give you their email essentially. Again, it's very reliable and you can just, a free plan is absolutely fine. By the way, just a little side note trick that I've used in the past is what's extremely common. It's actually it's so stupid that this is so just efficient and it works. But what you can literally do is you just literally take the founder's first name, put first name at companyname.com, and I swear to you, literally over 70% of the time, that is their email. Again, it's so stupid how effective it is. But for example, say you've got your target and the founder's first name is Joe, the company name is Growth Fuel, for example. You could just literally do joe@growthfuel.com and that is their email 70% of the time. It's crazy. I booked a meeting with the founder of the number one AI info company on the planet who are hiring now sales professionals through us. This is how I reached out to them. I literally did this exact method, just first name at companyname.com. It's crazy how efficient it is. So by now, you've got your list of about 20 to 50 targets that you're going to be reaching out to. Step number 2, we're going to create your marketing material. This is where it gets very, very important. Think about this from a first principles perspective. Our entire goal at the raw base level is to, number 1, garner attention. If we don't get the attention from our target list, nothing else matters. So we want to have our message opened and read by the hiring decision maker, which is often the founder, because, if there is a sales manager in place, they'll often be so impressed that what will happen is they will forward your email on to the sales manager. But at the raw base level, we want to garner attention and then we want to get the action that we want, which in this context is a reply which leads to an interview. So action number 1, we're going to map your big claim. Now, your big claim is the reason why they should open your video pitch, and more on video pitch in just a second. Think about the reason why they should move forward with you, why they should take the action that you want them to, which again, in this context is to reply to the email which leads to an interview. Now for this, we must use first principles of human psychology and we must appeal to their self-interest. Now put yourself in the shoes of, you're an AI business founder, you're doing about 10 million a year in revenue. What do they want? Keep it simple. They want more business growth and they want less stress and less headache. And what do you need to ultimately accomplish that? You need top tier talent. You need top tier sales talent. You don't just want some, random normie. You want A-player talent. And trust me, guys, I speak to AI founders daily. AI founders are absolutely looking for A-player talent to join their team at all times. Even if they're not actively hiring, I promise you, I've seen it firsthand. They will make a position for the right person. Even if they think they might not have spots, they will just make it open for you for the right person. They are always on the lookout for great, cash collecting, revenue producing setters and closers to join their team. And that is going to be our big claim. Now, here's the thing. Remember, our first main goal is to garner attention. If we don't have that, then nothing else works. And therefore, we can't just approach them with some run-of-the-mill claim like, oh yeah, I'll be a great sales professional for you. No. We need something that excites them, something that stirs emotion within them, something that garners their attention and makes them think who is this guy? Is he one of those prodigies in this industry? And then what happens is they quietly think to themselves, okay, this is literally the thought loop that you create. Is this guy one of those young prodigies? Okay, well, if he is, I cannot afford to not at least have a conversation with him. Let's bring him in for an interview. Again, this is literally the thought process that you will create if you follow this process to a T. So therefore, guys, with all that being said, the big claim that I recommend and the one that we're going to be using is I will be the most pivotal, influential, and successful sales hire that you ever made. Now, as a little bit of a disclaimer here, guys, some of you could be sat there thinking, wait a sec, but am I going to be able to fulfill that promise? Will I really be able to perform that well? Yes. If you can make yourself believe it, trust me, I've been in sales my entire adult life. Every single elite salesperson out there at one point had barely any track record or evidence, but they had a delusional level of self-belief that they could come into a company, that they could close deals and collect cash. Everything starts in the mind. If you lack the confidence and belief that you can come into absolutely any company, that you can make a big splash and solidify yourself as an A player, it's because you lack either the right character traits or the right skill sets. And if this is the situation, then trust me, I can help you. Just click the link in the description, watch that video, schedule a call with me, sign up to work with me, and I can guarantee you your life is going to positively change in so many ways. You'll become an elite level operator with the right character traits, the right skill sets, systems, processes, to not only land a great AI sales role, but also to come into that role and perform, to be one of the top players and make the life-changing money. Now, guys, I've got a quick meeting that I'm going to run to now, but I'll be back with you in literally 1 second. Very quickly recap. So by now, you've got your target list acquired. You understand the first principles of what these companies and what these founders are looking for. They're looking for cash collectors. Now we're going to go to the next step, which is creating your slides. We're going to be creating a short slide presentation, which we will present in your video pitch, which is the next step. Now, the beautiful thing is, with this technological advancement of AI, we are able to create this slide presentation in literally minutes, and it will boost conversions massively. So, remember, in a sea of mediocre outreach for sales roles, you really want to stand out, and one of the easiest levers that you can pull to beat your competition for sales roles, is simply visibly show a bit more effort than everybody else. It really, really is that simple. Even though it actually, only actually takes a few minutes, but the point is, from an aesthetic standpoint, it just shows that you've made more effort, makes you stand out, and ultimately skyrockets your conversions to interviews booked and helps you get into a sales role just so much faster and easier. Very, very important, guys. Trust me. You really, really have to do this. Steps to create your slides, nice and simple. You go to gamma.app and create an account. You won't have to pay for it. Free version is absolutely fine for what we need. And then essentially you're going to take your script, which we'll walk through in a second, and then you're going to paste it into the prompt that I give you. Or you can just make your own prompt. Again, just comment down below if you want the document, and you can get my prompt if you want to copy and paste. But you just go to Gamma, prompt it that you want a nice slide presentation, you paste in your script, and it will literally create a real professional looking slide presentation in literally a matter of minutes. Now, step 2B, we're going to create your video pitch. So now that we've got your professional slides made, we're going to script and record your video pitch. Now, remember, guys, very important, at the first principles level, founders are looking for somebody that they believe can come in, can close deals, and collect cash. Absolutely. Everything else is secondary to that. Very, very important to bear that in mind as you write your script. Now, for scripting, when I'm working with my clients, we go through a process which allows me to I actually craft the script for them. I craft a very personalized, deeply compelling script for their video pitch that maximizes conversions. Now, obviously, by the nature of doing this video, I can't, script your pitch individually, unfortunately, but I can give you the macro framework to use. And the macro framework is, for your script, for your video pitch, you want to start off with an intro. A very quick intro. Don't, blabber on about your life story. Just a very quick intro of, your full name. Then you're going to give a conviction statement, which is basically your big claim. You're going to state your big claim. Scott Parsons, and this video is about, because I will be, actually, don't use those words. I'm just saying this off the cuff, but Scott Parsons, big claim, I would be the #1 most pivotal sales hire that you ever made in your business. Or I would be the #1 revenue producer for your company, your big claim. But then you're going to back it up with actual evidence. Human beings, from a logical perspective, I won't go too deep into the psychology of this, but when we hear a big claim, we are much more likely to believe it if the person also gives us reasons as to why. There was a very famous study done where somebody went, they got actors to go out into the street and they asked people at the front of a big queue if they could cut in line. And they did this across 2 different control groups. One group just went up to the person in the front of the queue and said, "Hey, can I jump in front of you?" And then in the other group, the person went to the person in the front of the queue and said, "Hey, can I jump in front of you in the queue because XYZ?" And what they found is that when the person lists the reasons why, the compliance, the amount of people that let them skip the queue and go in front of them just skyrocketed. Anyways, I'm going off on a sidetrack. The point is, it's very, very important that when you give your big claim, you also back it up with your reasons as to why you believe that. So you're going to state your 2 to 3 reasons why. And what I recommend is to go first off, if you've got any relevant background or experience, if you've already got some sales background, or even if not in sales, but you've just done some good things in maybe some other type of career, list those out and relate it to your big claim. Then go into your relevant character traits. So, this could be things like, times that you've been persuasive, times when you've been persistent, etc. And then thirdly, go into your excitement and natural curiosity of the AI industry. You're then going to finish it off with a final conviction statement and then a call to action to reply back and offer an interview. What you can do, guys, again, just comment down below if you want this document, and you can even just, take my macro framework and, run it through ChatGPT, tell it what you're doing, run the whole document, in fact, through ChatGPT and get it to create your script. But you're going to make your script for your video pitch, and then in step 2C, you're going to record it. So very quick recap. By now, you've gathered your target list. We've mapped out your big claim. You've made your slide presentation with Gamma. You wrote the scripting for your video pitch. Now we're actually going to create your video pitch. We're going to be leveraging Loom. There's a couple of different tools that you can use, but I like to use Loom. It's easy to use. So go to loom.com. Again, free version is fine for what we need. You're going to paste your script into the notes section on Loom. So when you go onto Loom and you click record, this little box here will come up. You'll see at the bottom it will say notes. Paste your script into that. Trust me, guys, because what will happen is the script will come up on the screen, and when you're looking at it, it will look like you're looking directly at the camera, but actually you're just able to read down on your script. Very important just for your own energy, but then also because, trust me guys, I've been there. Like, you don't want to get to the end of your, 1 to 2 minute video pitch and then you forget the very last line and you have to go back and re-record it. It's just annoying. So just, paste your script into the notes section on Loom. Now, a couple of notes, some very, very important notes, by the way, on energy and communication. Remember, we are making our big claim throughout our entire messaging, including the main copy of the message we're going to send out. We'll get to that shortly. And in the video pitch itself, we're going to be stating our big claim. Now, also remember that we have to appeal to founders' self-interest. And again, what do founders want? They want somebody who they believe can close deals and collect cash, period. I've had guys in the past be like, can I really get a sales role in the AI industry with no experience? Yes, absolutely you can. If you do it like this, if you can deliver your big claim with conviction and your overall energy and vibe, aura, whatever you want to call it, conveys to them that you will be the type of person that can close deals for them. Because again, at the first principles level, all these founders want is somebody that can close deals and collect cash. A bonus if you're easy to get along with, you're positive, and you're not going to be stressful and a headache for them. So with all that being said, guys, it is imperative that in your video pitch you come across as professional, confident, positive, a good communicator with absolute conviction and almost a delusional level of self-belief that you truly do believe your big claim, that you would be the most pivotal, influential, and successful sales hire that they ever made. I want to make an important side note here, guys, that when I say a delusional level of self-belief, I don't want that to be mistaken for arrogance. There's a certain finesse to this when you can be very confident, have a lot of conviction, but it doesn't come across as arrogant, because arrogant is, it can be off-putting in all areas of life. Whether we're applying for a sales role or whatever it might be, arrogance is just off-putting and it can lower our conversions. There's a certain finesse to this. But carrying on from that note, it cannot be stated enough that if you don't have any experience, that is fine, because, or should I say, but where you lack in skill and experience, you absolutely have to make it up with enthusiasm, confidence, authority, and work ethic. In other words, you can call it aura. You want to absolutely almost brainwash yourself and be at the point of almost delusion about just how much cash you can make for that company and how you will be the best sales hire they ever made. If you lack that confidence, if you lack that belief in yourself that you can come into a company, you can make a big splash and collect a lot of money, then, again, I can help you. Hint, link in the description, but let's move on. Step 2D, we're going to be crafting the email and messaging copy. Now, to quickly recap, by now, we've got our target list, so we've mapped out our spreadsheet and who we're going to reach out to. Top-level AI businesses with high price points and good lead flow, a good product, good testimonials. We've mapped out your big claim, which, again, the one that I recommend is that I would be the most pivotal sales hire you ever made. Or another good one is I would be the #1 revenue producer for your company. You've made your slide presentation using AI. We've got your video pitch scripted and recorded. Now we're going to draft the copy or the messaging for the message that we're about to send out. So just to clarify, guys, when I say copy, this is, short for like copywriting. It basically just means the text, right? The text we're going to send out. So this is the actual initial messaging that the target will see before clicking your link. Extremely imperative. Very, very imperative. Because think about this, our entire goal of this process is to get them to watch our video pitch. The video pitch is the centralized point to which everything points, essentially. So when we reverse engineer it, when we think about the chain of events that leads up to our desired outcome, which is getting an interview with a good company, if we reverse engineer it, the first thing that happens is the target sees your email/message preview. So on email, they'll see the subject line, and there's like a little bit underneath the subject line, like a little message preview. They'll see that. Or if it's like a social media DM, like LinkedIn DMs, we're going to talk about that in a second, they'll see the preview of the message. That's the very first thing that happens in this chain of events. What then happens is, so they see the subject line or message preview, we hook their curiosity, and then because of that, the target opens the email or social media DM. The target reads the first few lines of the message, target clicks the link in the message, target watches the video pitch, and then the target replies back, and after maybe one or two back and forths, they book in an interview with you. So therefore, we can see that at the very raw foundation of success in this system is getting the target to pay attention to our message, to open it, to read the first few lines, at least up until the call to action, to watch your video. The subject line and the message preview alone, quite literally, guys, can make or break the entire process. It's imperative that you get this right. When working with clients, I give them multiple variations of like copy and messaging to use. Again, out of respect, I won't give away, that messaging and copy for free, what other people have paid me for. But what I would say is that, use everything that you've learned in this video. Again, comment down below if you want the document. Run it through ChatGPT. Get it to help you out with these things. Get it to give you the video pitch script. Get it to write you out the messaging and the copy and the subject lines, etc. Use everything you've learned in this video regarding first principles, mapping out your big claim, and then it can help you map out your subject lines and email copy. Now, with that being said, let's move on to the final step, step 3, which is sending, and also called instantly setup. So now we have everything ready. It's time to actually start blasting out our messaging to our target list. It's very important, by the way, that we create a multi-channel approach, which ultimately means just messaging the same company and the same founders, the same targets on more than one channel, on 2 channels. So for example, sending that message on email and also sending it on LinkedIn, or sending the message on email and also on LinkedIn and also on Instagram. And trust me, guys, I promise you, I don't just say this for the sake of it. I'm only telling you guys something when I know that it works. I have years of data and testing on this, I promise you. Layering on top multiple channels will soar your conversion rates. Facts. And by conversion rates, by the way, I mean from initial outreach to an interview book to you getting a top-level sales role with a great AI business and making the big money. Now remember, we want the founder to be thinking like, who is this guy? He's everywhere. He's in my email. He's in my LinkedIn. He's everywhere. He seems like he really has desire and ambition to work with us, and I like that. What if he's one of those cash-collecting prodigies? I have to bring him in for an interview. And trust me, by executing this process, if you follow the instructions to a T throughout this video and this document, you make sure that your video's dialed in, this is exactly what the founder will be thinking. Trust me, this is the exact thought loop that you will create. Like, who's this guy? He's everywhere. I have to have this guy. Now, there are 2 ways that you can go about sending. One of them is automated and the other one is manual. I'm not going to write out instructions for manual because it's self-explanatory, right? It's obvious. Just write all your messaging copy into a Google Doc, paste it into individual emails, into individual LinkedIn DMs, and just send it out. Now, so here's my recommendation. Do my automated process that we're about to go through for email, and then manually send, some LinkedIn DMs, about 5 to 10 LinkedIn DMs per day. More, if you want to, make this happen quickly. Now, if you follow this process and, you're layering the email on top of the DM, you won't need to do this for longer than a week. You could say, oh, I've got to manually send some LinkedIn DMs. I've got to send 5, 10, 20 a day. Well, yes, but the thing is, because of how much your conversion rate will increase, it will actually save you time. Because if you're just doing email, like I said, you'll get lower conversions and it might take you, maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks to get a good role. But doing it like this, I mean, you can literally have interviews booked and be offered roles within days, a week max. So it actually saves you time. Just, take that short-term sacrifice, put in, it doesn't even take long, sending 20 LinkedIn DMs a day, it might take 20 minutes, just put in that time and effort. Trust me, it will actually save you time. It will get you into a role a lot quicker. So here's the automated process for email. Action number 1 is that you're going to create an Instantly account. Again, free trial is fine for what we need. You're going to set up your Instantly account. So what you need to do for Instantly, you need to add in your email inboxes, and then you're going to import your target list spreadsheet. So do you remember at the top in step 1, creating your target list, I said it's very important to download it in CSV. And that's why, because we need to upload it into Instantly in CSV. Now, I'm not going to go through like all instructions to set up Instantly. To be honest, it's pretty easy. It takes about 10-15 minutes. It's not hard. It's not technical. But for the lazy ones of you, just copy and paste this prompt into ChatGPT and it will give you exact step-by-step instructions. Again, guys, it's really not hard. So paste that into GPT, follow the instructions to set up Instantly. And what Instantly will do is it will just, in the background on autopilot, just send out your messages daily. So once this is all set up through Instantly, again, you're going to be sending out 10, 20 LinkedIn DMs a day to the same targets that are on your target list spreadsheet, who are also receiving your automated emails. You're going to manually DM them on LinkedIn. It will take about 10, 15, 20 minutes a day, and it will just skyrocket conversions and get you into a role a lot quicker. But at this point, guys, you've got Instantly set up. Again, just copy and paste this prompt into ChatGPT. It will give you step-by-step instructions. Again, it's not hard. And then at this point, once Instantly is set up, it's sending your messages on autopilot in the background. At this point, you can sit back, grab a nice drink, grab a cigar, whatever you like to do, just relax. Knowing that elite level AI sales offers, which are going to make you 10, 20, 30K a month, even beyond, are right around the corner in a matter of weeks. It's a brilliant feeling. I always say to my guys that I'm working with as well, even though my guys that I'm working with, they just get roles through me, which is good. But I say, even when, you're working with me and you can just get a role directly through me, even still go ahead and set up this, because it's a lifelong asset. Anytime that you ever want, a real, top level AI sales role, you just turn that thing on and instantly, and you'll be booking interviews within a couple of days or a week max. And again, it's a good feeling to have. You know that anytime you want to pick up a new job, a new sales role, turn that thing on, you'll have one by next week. That gives you a certain level of abundance as well when you are in a sales role, knowing that you can just pick up another one on autopilot. So now that you have this set up, again, like I said, anytime in the future you want to pick up a new role, all you have to do, just find a new set of targets. You can use the automated process on Manus or the more slightly manual process on Apollo. You upload them to Instantly. Takes 10 minutes, and then you'll literally have an automated machine that can spin out interviews and offers for life. Now remember, while the software Instantly, the purpose of that is that it's going to send out our email outreach on autopilot. We don't have to do anything beyond the initial setup, which takes about 15 minutes. But on top of that, guys, I cannot stress enough, make sure that you are manually sending LinkedIn DMs on top of your emails to the same people that you're emailing. Just send them a quick manual DM on LinkedIn. Trust me, it takes very little effort and it will massively boost your conversions. I know I've repeated myself a few times on this, but I just really, really want to emphasize how important this is and how much it will make your life easier. Now, a key point, guys, is that what I've just walked you through, it's not just a framework and a process for landing, 20, 30K a month AI sales roles. It's actually one of the highest value skills on earth, as dramatic as that might sound. Because think about this, what you're really doing at the fundamental level is you are getting and holding attention from a person and getting them to take the action that you want. And this doesn't just apply to getting sales roles. You can use this to, again, like I mentioned earlier, I've used this exact process to, network and have interactions with some of the most famous people on the planet. Just because, why not? Just because you can. When you learn how to grab and hold the attention of whoever you want, whether they're, AI business founders, influencers, investors, athletes, celebrities, and then you can guide them to take the exact action that you want, you truly do unlock a new level of power that most people will never touch. And obviously with great power comes great responsibility. You can use this exact same skill set to get into rooms that you have no business being in, hypothetically. You can build a network that opens up doors for life. You can launch your own brand. You can get mentored by people who, other people can only watch on YouTube. Think about this. The exact process that I've just walked you through, this is the exact process that I used to get a sales role with Charlie Morgan. Charlie Morgan, to many people on the internet, is somebody who, they could only dream of having him as their mentor. He's very looked up to by a lot of people. I used this exact process. I ended up working with him and becoming great friends with him, and him becoming a mentor by the exact process that you've now got. You can also use it to build authority, income, and leverage faster than 99% of planet Earth. This isn't just about making money in AI sales. It's about control. Control of your career, your income, your connections, your destiny. So now really you've got two options. You can take what I've shared with you here today and try to figure out the rest alone. That's fine if you want to do that. Or you can take the fast track route. You can click the link in the description, watch the video on that next page, schedule a call with me, sign up and let's work together. You can be a client of mine and let me guide and fast track you into the AI industry so that you can get trained and know exactly how to close high ticket AI deals once you're in the role, which by the way are worth 2,000 to 6,000 in commissions. You'll be closing them weekly. You can leverage my systems, process, and network to get fast-tracked into an elite level AI sales role, all to earn 10, 20, 30,000 a month and beyond quickly. Achieve the income, security, freedom, lifestyle that you want while fulfilling your true potential and looking after the people that are close to you, while being part of the most in-demand, exciting industry on planet Earth right now. I'll give you the scripts, the systems, the feedback, the recruitment, the network connections, all to make you life-changing money and make it quickly. I'll then give you all the training and all the continued mentorship that you need to perform at an elite level once you are in that role and really bring the reality that you or bring the vision that you have for yourself into reality. The link is in the description, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. Whether we end up working together or not, either way, I wish you the absolute best. Really follow this process to a T, guys. I promise you it works. Hopefully we'll see you on the other side as a client of mine. Click the link in the description if you're interested in that. And I will see you in the next video.